Hey y'all, it's your girl Chrissy out here in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. I wanted to show you guys a skirt that I made, and I recorded a little tutorial for it. This cute granny square mini. I know a few of you have been asking me for a pattern, so I did my best on a freehand perspective of how I created this skirt. So, quick disclaimers. I will not be teaching any stitches in this tutorial, but I will let you know what you need to know in order to achieve this. I would say this is beginner friendly if you know stitches, but it's more so intermediate. So yeah, let's go through the freehand process of how I went about making this skirt. Okay, so first, the base of this skirt is the all-in-one granny square yarn from Red Heart. I used, what color is this? It says soft white, but it's blue in here, clearly. Well, soft white from Red Heart all-in-one granny square. As you can see, it basically pre-makes a square for you. I'd recommend any shade of this that you have. If you don't have a Red Heart all-in-one granny square yarn, just make a granny square with 5 rounds. This comes with 5 rounds, so it's 5 colors in each square. Quick disclaimer, if you're going to use this shade specifically, I've noticed every time that I use this, the square does not come out exact ever. But yeah, use this color at your own discretion. But yeah, what I like to do is, based on how many rounds I need for my squares, I like to add additional colors manually. Okay, for this I'm gonna use 2 shades of blue extra and a white. I have white yarn, a dark shade of blue, and a blue. These 2 are Red Heart, I believe, and this one is Mainstay. So all together, I use these 4 skeins. When it comes to picking extra colors, if you can't find the exact colors that is a part of this color scheme, you could just pull any 2 shades. That would just be my best recommendation. Unless you want to get funky with it, find like a complementary color. So if you were to use this, for example, I'd probably like pair this, if I want to be like extra, maybe with like a pink or a orange, peachy kind of color. I don't know. That's what I would go with. So you got your yarn. I use a 5mm hook, a pair of scissors. Don't have my scissors right now, but I'm sure you guys know what scissors look like, hopefully. And I got some elastic. This is, it doesn't say the width on here. I want to say this is like 1/16 probably. You get like 1/16 or 1/8, something that's like really thin. This I found a while ago. As you can see, it's broken. I found a while ago. I want to say it was from Hobby Lobby. I think it was Hobby Lobby. But yeah, this is just thick elastic cord. I guess if you want to Google or Amazon that, thick elastic cord. And yeah, we got elastic yarn, hook, and scissors. What won't be shown in this video is how I make a granny square. We're gonna go over briefly the granny square part, and then we'll go into the tutorial part because I got all that other stuff. Okay, for a granny square, I used 5 rounds. If you're a beginner watching this and you do not know how to make a granny square, if you want me to make a tutorial on how to make just squares and basic shapes, we can do that. I actually might do that. You're gonna make a granny square with 5 rounds. I'm sure there's a lot of videos here on this vast YouTube university on how to make a granny square. Learn how to make a granny square, come back to this video. Okay, I got you. So we're making a granny square with 5 rounds with our all-in-one yarn. Okay, then we're adding 2 extra rounds to said granny square. Just 7 rounds in total for your granny square. We're gonna make 4 granny squares, and I'll refer to the granny squares in the teaching part. But we're gonna do 7 rounds, 4 granny squares. I would say that I wear a large size 12, 14 bottoms in women. And this fits me snug. So even when I steam it now, it will still have the good fit that I need. So I would recommend probably for a medium, maybe sizing down a hook, maybe using a 4mm hook. For a small, I probably do 6 rounds or 5 rounds, depending on the width of your hip. Freehand tip, make 4 squares with 5 rounds. Okay, when you have those 4 squares together, see how wide it is around your hip. If it fits, great. If it doesn't, add another round and then check the measurement again. Okay, that will give you an idea of how you need it to fit. I think that's all the prerequisite things that we need to start this tutorial. Make sure you got your yarn, you got your hooks, and we're gonna make a skirt. Okay, yeah. So many reasons why I want for you, my love. Now you I want to retire with my love. See I get the Okay, so here we have our 4 granny squares that we're starting off with. I did the 7 rounds like I said before, and I added 2 shades of blue on the outside, starting with a darker blue and the lighter blue on the perimeter. The square itself ends with a white round. I'm gonna add my blue yarn, and I'm going to use that to connect my squares here in the middle. That darker blue is the shade that I'm going to use because that's going to be like the overall color I'm using for the skirt itself. So I'm just going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to connect my 2 squares on the front loops only using a single crochet. So I'm going to put the 2 backs together, line those up, and then at the top, those front stitches of the border is what we're going to use to connect our squares. I'm going to start right at the corner stitch. So I used 3 stitches for my chain in the corner. In the second chain is where I'm going to start connecting my 2 squares together. And I'm just going to pull the yarn through, create a slip knot, and then chain 1, and then I'm just gonna go in with my single crochet in every stitch all the way until I get to the next corner, the second stitch in the middle. I also like tucking my yarn as I go. I'm not a fan of weaving in ends much, so you're gonna see a lot of that. We're here at the end. I get to the last stitch, that second middle stitch, and I just fasten off my work, and these are my 2 squares connected. So now I'm just going to repeat the same thing with my other 2 squares, and I'm just going to connect them straight across. And this is also how you're going to check for your measurements as well, minus the stitching together part, but I'm going to put those together, and I have them together now. And this is now the width of my hips. And from here, I'm going to add to the top and the bottom. I'm going to add 8 rows each to the top and the bottom of the skirt to create length. I'm going to mimic the same pattern on the top and the bottom, just reverse. So since I left off with the lighter blue, I'm going to start again with a darker blue and use that for my first round around. And I'm just going to go in every opening with a granny cluster. I'd like to make a note that since I'm starting with this darker blue at the top, I'm going to do that same thing at the bottom. Then we're going to follow up with the lighter blue, then the white, and then we're going to do 2 rows of our all-in-one granny square yarn. We're going to go back to white, then the lighter blue, then the darker blue. And that will complete the 8 rounds at the top and at the bottom. So now we're here at the end of our first add-on round of the darker blue, and we're going to connect our lighter blue to the darker blue using an invisible knot. So I'm just gonna slip stitch through the top of the first chain 3 that we made in that round and fasten off my work, do my invisible knot to the blue, and chain 3 to start, and then we're going to go in with 2 double crochets in that same stitch, and then again with the granny clusters all around like we just did for our previous round. And that's our lighter blue that we're going to add now. So here we have our lighter blue that we're working. Now we're adding our white round around. Here's our first round of the all-in-one granny square yarn. Here's our second row of the all-in-one granny square yarn, which equates to our 5th round in total out of our 9 so far. And then we're back with the white again. Quick side note, if you want the top part of the skirt between the waistband and where the square starts to be shorter, I'd recommend that you do 5 add-on rows at the top, 5 or 6, and then at the bottom do 8 for a good length if you want it like short and snug to your body fit. You don't have to do 8 rows, but this is just what I did for the tutorial. I've added my lighter blue again now, and we're gonna switch to our darker blue, and this is gonna make row 8 for our top and bottom. For those of you who don't know, I'm a tour manager currently on tour, and we were driving through the back of Colorado, and I just wanted to show you guys my scenery. I was on a 14-hour drive from LA to Denver, and just wanted to pop in for you guys. And now we're back to the skirt. So I'm finishing off my last round of blue, my 8th round, and now I'm going to chain 1. And for the bottom, I'm going to do 1 row of half double crochets, and that will be the trim for the bottom of the skirt. So now the bottom of our skirt is complete, and we're gonna repeat the same thing at the top, but just with a twist. So here at the top, we're actually going to add our elastic now. So for measurements for elastic, I typically measure my waist, like where the skirt is going to sit at the top, and I just pull the elastic a good length to fit snug on my waist, and I snip that there, and I do an invisible knot on the 2 ends to seal it off. Another cheat you can do is just compare the length of the elastic to the circumference or width of the top of the skirt, but make sure the elastic is about 2 inches smaller than the width of the skirt. That's because elastic stretches, and you're going to set that inside, and you're going to have double crochet around the elastic. So I know you guys just saw me fumbling for the scissors, but now you're just seeing me make my invisible knot with the elastic, and I'm going to crochet that into the top of the skirt, tucking it into the half double crochet round. At the end of this round, I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 1 that I created in the beginning. And here you see my elastic is in my waistband, nice and snug. And now I'm just going to go into a chain 3, and I'm going to create 1 round of double crochets. So now that I've finished my first round of double crochets, I'm gonna build up my waistband for real now, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3, to do another chain 3 to do my second round of double crochets. But this round is going to be a little different. It's going to be similar to an alpine stitch, where we do one regular double crochet, and in the next stitch we do a front post double crochet, and next stitch regular double crochet, next stitch front post. And we are just repeating that all the way till we get to the end, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of our chain 3. Oh, here's some more scenery. There were ice caps in Colorado. But yes, as I was saying, you can add another elastic after this double crochet round and cover that with a single crochet to finish this off, or you can just plainly add the single crochet, which is what I ended up doing. And as you can see, our waistband has this pseudo ribbing caused by the front post and the regular double crochet. So this is the final round that I'm doing, which is one round of single crochet going all around the top, and that is what's going to finish off our skirt. Now I already have an elastic, but I'm not adding a second one, so I am actually going to add a drawstring to this. So as you can see here, this is our skirt, waistband to bottom. We got a nice stretch in our waistband. We have our ribbing, and it's gonna be a nice snug fit. We got our trim with our single crochet at the top, and now all that's missing is to add a drawstring. So I'm just gonna take that same darker blue yarn, and I'm just gonna chain 150. So I got my chain of 150. I snipped the ends. My apologies for the darkness. We were going through a tunnel. But that's my chain. So what I'm going to do now is take my hook and put that through all of the front posts, double crochets, and I'm going to pull my string through those front loops. And I'm going to do that all the way around until I get my 2 ends out, hanging out the front of the skirt. So now we have our drawstring added, our elastic added. We can pull our drawstring, let it loose. It's a nice bow, and it's gonna sit so beautifully now, nice and snug. And yeah, that's our skirt. And this is our try on, so you guys can see the fit, nice and snug. And this is before I steam it. So it fits me nice and snug. So when I steam it, it's going to have the perfect loose fit where I'm not like choked up, but it's going to fit me perfectly. And I have on shorts under this skirt as well. Got my waistband, so you see the waist is snatched in. I got my drawstring for extra security, and we're good to go this summer. So yeah, here's you guys's granny square mini skirt tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Happy hooking.